Okay. I came on here to clear some things up about Disney era Star Wars. This is not going to be 3 minutes long. It's not going to be short. I'm going to have to post this as a regular full length video. Um, Here's the thing. So, when Disney acquired Star Wars, they did a bunch of stuff with it. First thing they did, Star Wars Rebels. I don't see anyone bagging on that show. It's a great show. I loved it. And then it's confusion from there. At first, people were okay with the sequel, with the first sequel movie with Force Awakens. No one seemed to overly hate it at first. And then more and more started happening with it. Just over time, I guess. But the thing with that is they also made things like the Solo movie that was entirely Disney. Everybody loves that movie. There are some shows like the Ahsoka show gets some decent rep, but that's made by Disney. So clear my confusion first, please. Where did y'all brains go? Cause y'all hate on like the Acolyte, for example. The Acolyte is one of the closest things to Legends that Disney has given us from Star Wars. It was a good show, just in general. The writing might have been a little bad. The character development might have been lacking. Sure, there's some things to criticize, but the show itself, all in all, came together pretty well. Um, and then we get to the sequels. I want to clear up a lot of confusion on the sequels because so many people don't understand why they hate on them. Clearly, just the way they do is it just shows that you don't understand what you're talking about. Which brings to another point, which I will get to first. A lot of people bag on the sequels because of poor saber fights, which is very inaccurate. I want to tell you right now, lightsabers themselves are inaccurate to all laws of physics as we know them, and there's arguments against that. There's things that can be argued against that, but either way, current lightsaber battles are actually closer to how they would occur in real life than they have ever been in Star Wars. Like the way, and these people are more than strong enough to swing them around more. It's a choice by the producers to not have them swing them around as much so that you can see what they're doing, so you can actually follow their movement. Versus Lucas, who just wanted the lightsaber scenes to look cool and flashy, which wasn't very accurate to how they should be used. Um, and there's a lot of different scenes of lightsaber battles that I could bring up to prove this to further prove that point, but I don't really think I need to. Um, where else did I want to go with that? There's a few more things I still have to cover. This is way over. This is already over 3 minutes, which is how I know it's going to be a regular video. Something I don't understand is why so many people follow like the masses or the creators, because I know that a lot of people who hate on the sequels, one, I've seen it firsthand where people haven't even watched the second movie in the sequels or the third one even. Like they've only watched the first one or two of them. And that's fine. But don't criticize the ones you haven't watched. And I know you haven't watched a couple of them because of a further point that I'm about to say, that I'm about to mention. But what I mean by that is like so many people started hating on the franchise just a while ago from Disney taking it over, and that's fine. Hate what you like. I'm not here to try to change your mind about that at all. But I don't understand why so many people hate something that is just done decently, in my opinion. And then they prove their points by saying certain things that are just idiotic, like things that don't even make sense. Like, I'd understand why a couple people would hate it for those reasons, but not the entirety of the people who hate, not the entirety of the community. Now, here's a point I need to bring up. So many people misunderstand what happened in the last movie where Palpatine returned. He didn't return. It's explained in the movie that he made clones and had that as a secret a long time ago, like before the sequel started. Obviously, before he died, even he had this being worked on. He had this planned out for a while. Now, obviously, this makes sense. This makes sense. Star Wars has had clones since the beginning, because we've seen literally the Episode 2 clones. Like, the whole movie is about the clones, essentially, and then the entirety of Clone Wars, like. And then y'all still don't seem to get that Palpatine cloned himself, as if that's so out of pocket and just so far fetched that, like, oh, that can't be it. I don't understand that. And then there's so many people who, at this point, they're not even trying to say, oh, Rey's not a Skywalker, she's a Palpatine. At this point, they're just calling her Rey Palpatine. By that logic, so is Anakin. Which, further following that logic, would mean Luke and Leia and Han and Kylo Ren are also all Palpatines. Now, here's why. Anakin didn't have a father. His mother was Skywalker. His mother, Shmi, was, according to your logic here, the only Skywalker in the entirety of the series. Here's what I mean. Plagueis and Sidious, also known as Palpatine, created the Virgins, which is what it's called. They created Anakin. Basically, created the midichlorians and formed the midichlorians in such a way that Anakin literally formed. It's the same way that Osha and May and Acolyte were made and created, by the way. And that's explained in the first movie. Not who does it, but the fact that it was a Virgins, the fact that this kind of thing happened. And then it's explained in the legends and the comics and whatever that what a Virgins is. So here's the thing, though. Supposedly, that's the same thing that created Rey. But Rey had a father. Or I'm misunderstanding Rey's exact thing a little bit. It's been a minute since I watched the sequels. Don't judge me. Hold on. Assuming Rey was also created by Palpatine, just Palpatine alone this time, Rey is still a Palpatine. Anakin was still a Palpatine. The only thing that made him a Skywalker was the mother he was birthed from. So if Anakin's a Skywalker, and we're not going to consider Rey a Skywalker, even though she was created by the same father being that would have created Anakin, we're going to say that because of that, she's a Palpatine. Well, then maybe we should go by her mother's last name, which we don't even know, by the way. We don't even know who her mother was, or what her last name was at all, mind you. So, like, do we really want to continue with that? Like, honestly. And again, this isn't hating on the entire community for, oh, you shouldn't hate the sequels are awesome. I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't like. Obviously, I have no place for that. I personally understand the sequels, and am here to clear up some confusion that a lot of people have. And that's proven. I've recently found myself on the Star Wars side of TikTok again. It took so long. Not even TikTok, but mostly YouTube. It took way too long to find this site again. I don't even know how I lost it in the first place. My entire page used to be like Star Wars and Harry Potter. Now it's just random stuff as well as a little bit of Star Wars mixed in there. I don't know where it came from. It just started up again, and I'm not complaining. Like, I'm here for it. I'm fine with it. Obviously, I enjoy this series. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about it for 10 minutes. like I said before, just a bunch of different reasons that people claim to hate the series because it's Disney, because it's this, because it's that. But there are things like Rebels and Solo Story and Rogue One that people don't seem to hate as much, even though it's the same company that made the sequels, that made etc. etc. And then again, y'all keep bringing up the lightsaber scenes, or oh, the lightsabers got nerfed. You stab people, they heal now. Okay, so we're just gonna ignore that people have literally been dismembered by lightsabers and should have bled, like squirted blood from their wrist? Okay, let's get into the science behind that. Depending on where you stab, Qui-Gon, for example, in the stomach, but you'll notice not so vital organs on some of the other people that were stabbed. Like Ren, for example, he had his side here. This part was where he got stabbed. Anyway, he was stabbed right here, like in his stomach, right? Not his stomach, but like his spleen. That's not gonna kill you, and he wasn't even stabbed there. He was kind of like slashed there. And I don't think that's one of the ones that people mentioned, but people mentioned Sabine's in Ahsoka. It was more sideways. It was maybe a kidney, and also the wound was immediately cauterized, so no blood loss, because lightsabers are hot. It's kind of the whole purpose of them, except for the one kyber crystal that makes them really cold. But that's a whole different topic. Anyway, I have loved Star Wars since I was 3 years old. I shit you not, that's when I was introduced to the first 6 movies. That is what I started on, the original first 6 movies. And then my dad started showing me the Clone Wars. We started watching that together. We finished it all the way through. Me and my dad have watched Star Wars since I was 3 years old. We're caught up pretty much. We haven't finished Andor. We haven't finished a few of the things, which is why I'm not bringing those up. But we watch pretty much all the Star Wars stuff, just like we watch pretty much all the Marvel stuff, even though that's another community people are starting to dislike quite a bit. Again, pretty much for no reason. So anyway, there's so many reasons that people claim to dislike the sequels. There's so many reasons that people just don't like things like that, and I still don't really understand why. And I've literally given some of the reasons, so you don't need to berate my comments with, oh, this reason and that reason. I understand the reasons you're giving. I don't understand the reasons behind the reasons, other than, oh, this one creator said that. Like, let's follow the masses, which, again, I've said this before. You have free will. You have your own brain. You can like whatever the fuck you want. So people don't, and it's kind of sad, actually. And this sort of trend has happened since the dawn of time. People are like, oh, this dude has an idea and we like his idea, let's just follow him forever. This dude is the dude now. That's kind of how we got a president in the first place. It's kind of how we got a lot of things, really, but for the most part, it's how we got to where we are as a society of pure chaos. Because some people follow one person and some people follow another person, and that's how the entire world has split. That's how so much other things have happened and gone wrong with the society in general. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about Star Wars and Disney era Star Wars specifically. Disney has done a lot more than you think they have. And sure, Lucas is there for some of it, but he doesn't even own the rights to Lucasfilm anymore. Like, anything Lucasfilm isn't made by George Lucas, it's made by Disney. So, you know, the newest like Indiana Jones movie, that was entirely Disney. That was not at all George Lucas. That he had no part in that. He might have had a little bit of like oversight, like, oh, maybe you should include this or take that out. He might have had a couple consecutive decisions, like he does with a lot of Star Wars content and other things. But like even before Stan Lee died, when Disney had Marvel, he was there in some of the Disney films and shit. But Disney isn't butchering Marvel either, and so many people think they are. But Disney is bringing out a lot more of the comics than you think they are. You just haven't read all the comics. You just haven't seen all the content that the comics have given. People are like, what the hell is this whole WandaVision thing? What's Wanda's whole deal? Comics happened in the comics. Maybe a little differently, maybe they changed a couple of things, but they get their inspiration from existing content. Star Wars not so much, because obviously there's not as much to go off of from their legends and stuff, but you get my point. And honestly, my point's been made. It's done. This is a 16-minute video of me just yapping, but yeah. Alright, I've cleared confusion, hopefully, and hopefully y'all understand a little bit more about at least why you hate the shows that you hate. I'll see you later. I'll talk about something else later.